Good morning and welcome. We are kicking off another week of daily video devotions through the book of 1 Samuel with 1 Samuel chapter 29 this morning. And if you've read along with us, you'll know that chapter 29 is kind of interesting. Most of last week and maybe even a little bit of the week before that, we talked about how David finally had enough of King Saul pursuing him, of chasing him around Israel, trying to end his life. So instead of hanging out in caves or in the wilderness or in the deserts trying to evade King Saul, David had decided to go and live among the Philistines and to even serve the Philistines. And if you'll remember, the commander of the Philistine army that David had been working with was this guy by the name of Achish. At least I think that's how you pronounce his name. And anyway, by chapter 29, David had been serving with the commander Achish for quite some time, maybe even a year. And this day comes when the Philistines decide they're going to pursue the Israelites. They decide they're going to fight King Saul's army. And because David had been serving with King Achish for quite some time, he was going to go with him into battle and even fight against the Israelites because he had really been serving as this bodyguard for this commander, this Philistine commander, Achish. Well, the other Philistine commanders come and I guess they have this meeting before they go on their military battle, their conquest, and they recognize David as an Israelite, not only as an Israelite, but as a very feared Israelite, a very capable military commander. They even quote something that the Israelites said about David a long time ago about how King Saul killed his thousands, but David his 10,000s. And see, they don't trust King David or they don't trust David, he's not king yet, excuse me, like the commander Achish does. So they tell Achish that under no circumstances can David go with them as they fight the Israelites. And see, what I thought was so interesting about this passage and what I think we can learn from it is that Achish has to go to David and he has to have this really difficult conversation. And in fact, he had to have a difficult conversation with the other Philistine commanders before that because Achish did not agree with them. He thought that David would be loyal and faithful to him. He didn't fear that when the battle started between the Philistines and the Israelites that David's loyalty would be torn and he would defend the Israelites instead of the Philistines. And what I think is so interesting is that so often in our life we face disagreement with others, we have conflict with others, and so often I think our conflicts and the hurt feelings that we get are because we are just bad at communicating with each other when we're in conflict or when we disagree. We don't say what we actually feel. We don't trust that the person we're disagreeing with will be able to recognize our disagreement and appreciate it, even if we might not convince them of our point of view. So instead of really communicating directly, instead of being just totally honest with others, we hem and we haw and we don't say what we really feel. And what actually happens is that conflict is just prolonged, or that disagreement is just prolonged because we weren't willing to actually discuss what we disagreed about. And see, here in 1 Samuel 29, Achish has no problem telling the Philistine commanders how he feels. They don't agree with him, but they can go on with each other because they've both stated their opinions and they can live with the consensus they come to. And he doesn't hem and haw with David either. He tells David that while he might not agree with the decisions the other Philistine commanders had made, it was a decision that they had made and he would abide by it. And he even thanked David for his loyalty that he had given to him over the past few months. See, Achish and David didn't try to shy away from disagreements. They didn't try to shy away from conflict. They were honest within them, honest about how they felt and what they believed, and they were able to live even in the midst of disagreement and conflict because of that. So that, I think, presents an interesting challenge for us when we face disagreement and conflict in our lives. Can we be honest with others? Can we tell them how we truly feel? And can we give them enough respect and enough space to be able to voice how they feel as well, and for us to be able to receive their opinion even if we don't agree with it? See, I think it's a healthy vision of what dialogue, especially dialogue amidst conflict and amidst disagreement, should look like. So think about that. over the next few days, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for 1 Samuel chapter 30.